Hi everyone, I'm Eileen. Today I want to talk about why your luxury collections and your designer bags actually cost you a lot more than you think. When you buy a luxury bag or a diamond ring, quite often you're not just paying for the item itself, there's usually a lot more to it. First and foremost, shopping takes up our time. A lot of us spend more time on shopping than we might think. I wanted to mention time before anything else because while money is important, we can always make more money, but we can never go back in time. This is why I'm now very intentional with how I spend my time because it is the one resource that we can never renew. Back in the days, I would spend the entire day walking from one Chanel store to another, trying to look for the perfect Chanel bag. I would also go to the Cartier store several times before finally making the purchase. Some people love online shopping because it just feels so convenient, but I think even online shopping can be just as time consuming because if you look into it, every time you are interested in buying something, for example, a designer bag, you first of all will take quite a lot of time to do your research, including watching a lot of review videos. You then spend more time browsing different shopping websites to try to look for the best deal. And when the item arrives, you then take more time to try the item on and then contemplate if you should keep it. And if the answer is no, you then spend more time to try to exchange or return the item. Now, I want to clarify that these are all very intentional shopping decisions. I mean, if you are in the market for a very expensive luxury handbag, of course you want to do your due diligence. So I'm not saying you have to rush into buying anything just to save time, but I just think we could all be a bit more conscious about how much time we spend on shopping or just looking for things to buy. When I look at how I used to shop, I really do wish I had spent my time a bit more wisely. The second reason your luxury collection might be more expensive than you think is because you most likely have to pay for insurance. This is something I religiously pay for because I really do sleep better in the night knowing I have that protection. However, I'm also aware of the fact that the bigger my luxury collection is, the more the insurance coverage will cost. This is why I try my best to keep my jewelry and luxury handbag collection a reasonable size, and I'm also very mindful with everything I buy. In the last 2 years, we've seen some major robberies in some really big luxury stores, including Rolex, Louis Vuitton, Bottega Veneta and Bulgari. Whether we like it or not, luxury goods and designer brands can sometimes make us a target for some ill-intentioned people. So if you enjoy designer shopping, you really should protect yourself. Moving on, your designer bags or Chanel collections might be a lot more expensive than you think, especially if you look at the accommodation cost. As our collections grow, we have to create space to store them, whether if it's in the form of getting a bigger wardrobe, a shiny walk-in closet, or in some cases, a bigger house. Whichever option we go for, we are still essentially paying rent for our things. Sometimes I just feel like this whole thing is a bit ironic because initially we paid for things just so they could serve us or make our lives easier. But now, in a way, we are serving them unknowingly. It's a bit like we buy a car just so we can get to work, but after a while, we want a bigger and a shinier car, which is a lot more expensive. So now, in a way, we drive to work just so we can pay for the car. Now, I want to point out that for some people, a massive walk-in closet makes sense because it is part of the business. For example, Sheer Whitney is a massive fashion YouTuber and she has this amazing walk-in closet with all her designer items in it. This is where she films and edits her videos, so the space is more like a working area and an office for her. For the average people, however, luxury items and everything associated with them are purely personal expenses. So if you're like me and you have a day job and a very busy schedule, you most likely don't need a massive space just to store the things you don't really use. Next, you might spend a lot more than you think on your luxury collections because of something called the Diderot Effect. Basically, when you buy something nice, it tends to create a spiral of consumption, which leads you to buy more and more. For example, if you buy a Louis Vuitton handbag in the classic monogram canvas, you might then want a matching wallet, a card holder, a belt, and maybe a scarf as well. Another example is you've just bought an Hermes Birkin bag and now you're always looking for different twillies and leather charms to complement the bag. So even though you only have the one bag, you might find yourself with a collection of expensive bag accessories. Within the luxury community, I think the Diderot effect is quite a common thing. A lot of people initially loved luxury handbags, but then slowly they kind of extended their interest to designer shoes, luxury ready-to-wear, and even things like phone cases and socks. Before you know it, everything has to have a designer label on it. In fact, a while ago, a viewer told me she even considered buying a new car after getting her Hermes Birkin 30 because she felt like her own car didn't really go with the nice Birkin bag and she almost felt like she wasn't worthy of the bag. I think the Diderot effect is more widespread than ever now because of the presence of social media. We've been conditioned to think we have to look a certain way, and if we carry a certain handbag, we have to eat in certain restaurants and we have to drive a certain car. I sometimes think this is like the butterfly effect, where a small decision can somehow change the whole landscape of your life. Years ago, I remember watching a video on YouTube and a blogger said something about her husband buying her the very first designer handbag, and it kind of opened a can of worms because since then she had been really into designer shopping and shopping just became part of her life. Next, I want to touch on purchase history. A lot of us know a purchase history is needed if you want to be offered certain handbags at Hermes, such as the Birkin, Kelly, and Constance bags. So the price of the handbag isn't just the price of the handbag because you really should include the spending of your purchase history as well. Honestly, I don't think that is strictly an Hermes thing. I think a lot of luxury brands do use that strategy to increase the overall sale for their company. Generally, if you spend more, you will have a more personal relationship with your sales associate, and so the most popular items will be reserved for you. However, in order to receive a more personal service, you also must keep buying to sustain that business relationship. When I used to shop a lot, there were occasions when I was served champagne and chocolate, and I was also given a lot of free gifts. I want to say those were really nice gestures and I do appreciate it, but it does come with a price, and so it's up to the individual to decide if it's worth paying for. Moving on, your luxury handbags and fine jewelry pieces might cost you more than you think if you consider the opportunity cost. With everything we buy, we have to put in time and money. So the question is, could these two resources be better spent on something else? I've mentioned in another video that I've lost thousands of pounds from selling the luxury items from my own collection. These are the pieces I sometimes wish I didn't buy, and so I do occasionally wonder, would I have spent that money on something else? Truthfully, instead of spending a lot of time shopping, I wish I had focused on myself and my well-being a bit more. I also wish I had gone traveling a bit more, and I wish I had invested more. Years ago, a friend of mine was already investing in Bitcoin, and I remember thinking I would much rather pay for a Chanel handbag. Years later, Bitcoin has gone up by at least 10 times. Now, this is just food for thought. I'm not saying we have to invest every single penny and spend nothing on leisure. But at the same time, I just think we shouldn't completely ignore the aspect of opportunity cost either. The last one is probably not something everyone will agree, but I think owning luxury items can sometimes cost us our convenience to a certain extent. I've made a video talking about the safety issues associated with having expensive pieces. Generally speaking, designer items with very recognizable features such as a big logo or monogram are more likely to attract unwanted attention. This is why it's really important to be aware of your surroundings when wearing high-profile pieces. Then there's the weather to worry about, because who wants to be caught in the rain when carrying an Hermes handbag? Personally, I always make sure to check the weather before leaving the house, just so I know I'm carrying the right handbag or wearing the right shoes. Let me know if it's just me or is everyone else doing that as well. Anyway, my point is, I wouldn't have to make these extra efforts if I didn't own any luxury items. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. So those are the reasons why your luxury handbags, designer shoes, and fine jewelry pieces actually cost you more than you think. With all these factors in mind, I'm now very intentional with everything I buy. For me, it's really about finding the balance between enjoying nice things but at the same time not burdening myself unnecessarily. Let me know if you agree with everything I covered in this video or if you have anything to add. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Have a nice day.